How's it going, everyone, and welcome into another edition of Foolish Fantasy as we are here going into Week 8 of the National Football League. Absolutely insane. We are basically halfway done with fantasy football after this week is over with. Unreal. There's some teams who are trying to get themselves ready and situated for a playoff push. Those teams that are trying to inch their way back into the playoff hunt. This is the podcast for you today, but first I need you to do one thing. That is to like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications and make sure you comment in the comment section wherever you are listening to this from, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on Apple Podcasts. It's a 5-star review if you could. And then also on the YouTube comment section, I make sure to do all the glitz and glamours for all that to help us out here at Foolish Club Media because we appreciate you. We do. We do. We try to give you the best engaging content as possible that covers the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, or even the Houston Texans, or heck, even nightly things that happen when it comes to our nightly fix show. But yeah, we appreciate you all. My question for you all as well to begin the show, like I always do, with a question. Who is your biggest waiver wire addition that you've had this entire season so far? Mine is easily Rico Dowdle. I have been floored of what he has done for the Carolina Panthers. It's absolutely unreal and insane. The fact that he's been overall, his production value has increased tenfold. And I think it's here to stay. I feel confident that it's either going to be a split backfield or if it's going to be something leaning heavily towards Rico Dowdle for the rest of the season. I absolutely love that addition that I've had with him. And I'm just more curious to hear what yours truly is. I mean, I also just did pick up Cade Otton, which he helped me out last week in a fantasy football league. And it was great. It was awesome. It was also another addition, but he wasn't as big or also as impressive of what Rico Dowdle has done for my team since being acquired on one of my fantasy football teams. But I'm curious, who is your biggest waiver wire addition that you've had for this entire 2025 fantasy football season? I'm curious. Let me hear it in the comment section down below right now. Right now. Do it right now. I'm begging you. No, I'm not begging you. I'm telling you. Do it right now. Do it. All right, let's get to the foolish funsies. Not as fun as for some, as Mike Evans being placed on the IR. I'm not sure if he's actually be able to make a return back, but we at least know for one thing, is his 1,000-yard season is officially over. His stretch of consecutiveness of 1,000 yards in a season is done. That sucks for him. Also, Chris Godwin is also ruled out this week for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are taking on the New Orleans Saints. And this is also a week where there's 8 teams on a bye week. There's 8 teams where it comes by who are the teams? Cardinals, Lions, Jaguars, Raiders, Rams, and Seahawks. We'll go over that again here later on, but that's the teams that are out right now, and that absolutely sucks. The fact that Evans is out and Godwin's out, that means there's some guys on free agency right now that you could put into a starting lineup for a team that's just trying to continue to win their fantasy football game matchups. And we'll get to those later on throughout the show because we will get to who to add right now. This is a big, big week 8 where the bye is huge this week, especially for teams who are maybe flirting with getting to the playoff spot or winning games or trying to get games back. This is that week to do so with those 6 teams out. But we will get to who to add on your rosters and who you should drop who are currently on people's rosters. There's teams. You need to rip the umbilical cord. We're going to get to those guys later on. But Mike Evans placed on the IR with that broken collarbone. Absolutely sucks. Chris Godwin is out once more. It's not good right now, Tampa Bay, but hopefully, and they just lost last week to the Lions as well. Also, big loss there for Evans too. But in multiple types of ways of losing, that's what's happening right now. Tampa Bay, they're hitting the injury bug. Not good at the time of the season to hit it at. So on to the next one. Maybe a guy that could be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer if things don't work out its way. Jacoby Myers. Fantasy owners, you might rejoice because he still says he for sure wants to be traded out of Las Vegas. I'd want to be traded out of Las Vegas as well. I'm very, very surprised that Max Crosby still wants to stay. He wants to try to win there in Las Vegas, and he wants to be a Raider for life. And I respect the hell out of that. But Jacoby Myers doesn't want to be a Raider for life. I mean, he already came in from the outside where he was drafted by the New England Patriots. He signed over here, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now it's time for him to leave because he knows where this team's trajectory is going down. It doesn't look good. Hell, they didn't even get over 100 yards the last game that they played. And Jacoby Myers, for sure, as he says, he for sure wants to be traded out of Las Vegas. Still, Tampa Bay might be a great landing spot for him. They are being absolutely obliterated when it comes to that wide receiver room. So there's at least some sort of option that maybe the Raiders can try to trade Jacoby for maybe a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th round draft pick. That might be coming your way. But I think once Jacoby Myers does get traded, he's going to have some production value go absolutely skyrocketing forward. I mean, he's had a decent season so far, but he's not like a top 20 or I would say a top 30 wide receiver in fantasy football standards by any means because of who's throwing him the football. And if that person who's throwing him the football, and either it's Geno Smith, clearly, it's not getting to him. It's just not. As we saw the Michael Mayer experiment come up. And honestly, I think this offense relied upon Brock Bowers being healthy. He's just not healthy. So Jacoby Myers he's for sure once out of Las Vegas and never wants to be a Raider ever again. Jaden Daniels. He's been ruled out for Monday Night Football against Kansas City Chiefs. We will see Marcus Mariota play. This might be the most boring Monday Night Football game we will ever see in some time because Marcus Mariota, his first drive coming in, taking on the Cowboys last week, was a pick six. It ended in a pick six. Do you think the Commanders fans want to see that? No, I don't even want to see that. And I'll be probably there on Monday Night Football watching the game and working it. So it's like, I don't know if I even want to see that portion of it. I think I'm out on that. I do want to see Marcus Mariota play. I know he's won a playoff game here in Kansas City when he was a Tennessee Titan, but that's not Marcus Mariota then. This is a different grizzled veteran Marcus Mariota now. It's not going to be good. The offense won't be great. I'm curious to see if Deebo Samuel is going to play in this game or not. He's also popped up questionable. The first thing in practices we'll be getting today. So I'm curious how the injury report's going to shape up and see what exactly this team is going to look like on Monday night. But at least we know that Jaden Daniels is out. So there are some guys out there right now I think Jackson Dart is about 80% owned in leagues. So if you're able to grab him, that'd be awesome. Maybe if you can find a way to get Daniel Jones on your team. I think he's one of the hot candidates out there. Maybe Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields. We'll get to that here shortly. But there's some quarterbacks. There should be some quarterbacks out there. Even if you're going to go roll with Aaron Rodgers this week, you might as well. And might as well. You just might as well. Spencer Rattler against the Buccaneers. I mean, you already know that defense is it's a shootout each and every single time. Maybe Andy Dalton's your answer this week. I know Buffalo plays Carolina at Carolina. That's another option you could do. And if Bo Nix is still a free agent out there on your waiver wire, you might want to get him. Bo Nix was insane in that fourth quarter last week for the Broncos to come back and defeat the New York Giants. Absolutely unreal. But as we continue around the foolish funsies, we get to another quarterback his status is still TBD, and that's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, they don't know whether or not they're going to be able to trot him out there against, I believe it's the Bears. The Bears got them this week. I want to say the Ravens. Where are you at, Ravens? I think they have the Bears. Who the Ravens play? I'm trying to look on this laptop real quick so I can at least sound somewhat of. Do I just not see the Ravens? Who the Ravens play this week? That's weird. I'm sorry about that. This is terrible podcast. So yeah, they played the Bears. For some reason, it's not showing up on the NFL schedule on ESPN. That's very interesting. Oh, no, it's right there. I see it. I'm just an idiot. So the Ravens play the Bears this week. It's not like the Ravens need to win this game, starting off 1-5 this season. I don't know if I want to trot a 75% Lamar Jackson out there. I think the Ravens can move the ball with Cooper Rush against the Bears. I'd be very curious to see it. But if he's the status is still TBD, and they've already had one practice in, and while this podcast comes out, they'll be already into their second practice. That's a huge second practice is whether or not he's going to be either limited or he's out. I feel like we're going to find out sooner rather than later. But right now for Baltimore, it just doesn't look good for this entirety of this team. Winning games, even with Lamar Jackson back there, throwing the football to his receivers. I just don't trust this Baltimore Ravens whatsoever. And also, the Bears are kind of hot right now. The Bears are playing pretty good with Ben Johnson as their head coach right now. So I'd be very curious to see if I want to roll with Lamar Jackson this week, even if he is healthy. But even if he's healthy, you might as well start him. But I'm curious as to who's going to start in between the matchup and the New York Jets, because Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor is going to be starting this week. Tyrod Taylor showed up on the injury report with a knee injury in practice, but I don't think Aaron Glenn wants Justin Fields to start. Justin Fields has played terribly the last 2 weeks after having an incredible garbage time season so far. But that's the thing. Justin Fields is a garbage time quarterback. He's a good fantasy quarterback to have, but he's just not a good quarterback to get you and to win you games. The Jets haven't won a game yet. I think they have a better chance with Tyrod Taylor going out there to try and win the game rather than trying to bring out Justin Fields, because I thought it was laughable when they made the deal to sign Justin Fields in New York, because I know they wanted to escape away from all the Aaron Rodgers BS that they've had the last 2 to 3 years there in New York. And they want to do something fresh and different and fun, and maybe the Garrett Wilson connection between Justin Fields and him will shine and prevail. It's never happened. I mean, it kind of has happened, but through garbage time, but nothing during meaningful moments, because I don't think Justin Fields is that meaningful moment type of player who can capitalize under the pressure. That's just not who Justin Fields is. He wasn't like that in college, and he wasn't like that here in the NFL. So if you're trotting Justin Fields out there, he's not going to get the win for you. Who's going to get you the better chance to win a football game? I believe it is Tyrod Taylor. And if you had to start Tyrod Taylor this week, I think he's going to be a very valuable option that can get you up to 20 points per fantasy football standards, because of the fact that he can also run around the pocket like what Justin Fields does. I just think Tyrod Taylor has better decision-making, and he's able to get that first down in a crucial moment of the game rather than what Justin Fields can do, because if he can't throw the football, he'll just escape it and tuck and run, and hopefully not can get a concussion on the way up through there like he's been getting those twice this season. So I would not trot out Justin Fields whatsoever. If you haven't answered that question yet, who was your biggest waiver wire addition? I'd love to hear it in the comment section down below. And now let's get to the reason why you're here to the podcast is to give you some advice for the week 8 of the bye weeks. There's 6 teams on bye: Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks. Let's get to the guys that you should probably be considering to add to your roster. Then we'll get to the ones where you guys should probably consider to drop. So I got 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. Here's who I got. I think you should probably either do a grab and stash. I would grab and stash this guy at least. That's Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears is owned in 32% of the leagues. His share has gone mightily towards his side of the ball. I know last week we saw a handful of pass catches coming from Tony Pollard of the Titans, but I think at some point in time, the passing of the torch moment will happen between these two. The second year back was had a little setback this year due to injury, but I think they're ramping him up to even have more elevated type of level. If I see him right now, especially if you need a running back, maybe a flex option this week, it's not a bad option to try to get him onto your team. They're playing the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts does give up fantasy points to running backs. So a good flex option for him this week might not be a bad idea. And also, he is the pass catching running back. He's the receiving back on the Titans. He will get those targets from Cam Ward, hopefully sooner rather than later. Now let's go to, I might butcher his last name, but he's owned in 28% of the leagues. It's the Chicago Bears running back, Kyle Monongai. Monongai. You know who I'm talking about. The guy that has the M at the beginning of the name, the I at the end, and the G's in there at some point towards the back end. You know who I'm talking about. He's owned in 28% of the leagues, and they're going up against a favorable matchup due to a decimated Baltimore Ravens defense. And he's actually kind of almost split the workload with DeAndre Swift. And also, if DeAndre Swift, he's been shown up questionable on the injury report list the last handful of weeks. If DeAndre Swift can't go, that's the guy who's going to be the workhorse, the everyday down back is Kyle Monongai. So I would grab him. You might also want to start him this week. I think he's a valuable start this week as well. A guy that you should grab and absolutely stash. He's only owned in 9% of the leagues, but he will be running back number 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs sometime this season, maybe for that ending of the playoff stretch that you desperately need when you get to the playoffs. And you're like, all right, I need this guy that hopefully can go all the way through. That is Brashard Smith of the Kansas City Chiefs. We saw last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, he had his most incredible day behind running backs, being the running back for the team. And he did all of his stuff. I know he had a lot of rushing yards in that fourth quarter, but he had most of his rushing, receiving, receptions, yards, you name it, all in that first half. And they were working him in bubble screens, regular screens, making sure that Brashard Smith had the ball in his hands. And I mentioned this already on Veach season just recently, that was posted out on Wednesday. I said, I love the fact that he was able to take his time and let the play develop in front of him so his blockers can get there, and he slid through the holes that the blockers created for him. He has elite level thinking ability of making sure he's doing the right thing at the right time. I love Brashard Smith. Grab him and stash him on your team. Let's go to the wide receivers. Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney is a guy that I would add 45% in the league that he's owned in. I like him a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Penix Jr., but I think when Michael Penix Jr. is on and rolling, Darnell Mooney is the guy to have. He's not a guy to start or by any means, but maybe this week he is, especially with big top name wide receivers being gone, whether it is a Brian Thomas Jr. who's been heating up as of late, Marvin Harrison Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, name it on there, Devontae Adams, JSN. There's going to be a lot of holes to fill, and Darnell Mooney is not a bad guy to have if you need a hole to fill. So he's owned in 45% of fantasy leagues across ESPN. But the guy that I think you should add right now, only owned in 31% of the leagues, Tej Johnson of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You add him this week, and you start him this week. The last 2 weeks he's played, he's got a touchdown in each and every single one of them, and there are no wide receivers right now for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we've seen 9 targets being shared to him just this past Monday night against the Detroit Lions. Him and Cade Otton, which, by the way, spoiler alert, he'll be on the next person you should probably add. But Tej Johnson only owned in 31% of the leagues. I dropped Cooper Kupp for him. Cooper Kupp for Tej Johnson. I dropped him in a league. I had to. Tej Johnson is going to do more fantasy output than what Cooper Kupp does on my bench. It's ridiculous. So I would add Tej Johnson. Another person I would also add in wide receivers is the Colts wide receiver, Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce, I know he got a lot of love this past week because of the injury to Downs. But even when Downs was healthy this season, we were still seeing Alec Pierce get 7 to 8 to 9 targets a game. So I liked his target share a lot. And you know what they do a lot in Indianapolis? They throw the football. Daniel Jones throws that around like willy-nilly. He throws it over to his tight end. He throws it over to Michael Pittman Jr. Heck, every once in a while, instead of handing it off to Jonathan Taylor, he will throw it to Jonathan Taylor. It just happens. And now Alec Pierce, if Downs is hurt, Pierce is in. Even if, like I said, even Downs is healthy, Pierce is still going to be in. He's still going to get his targets. He is very reliable for Daniel Jones. I like him a lot, and he's only owned in 8% of leagues. It's not a lot. It's not a lot whatsoever. Let's go to the tight ends. I already said his name, Cade Otton, only owned in 37% of the leagues. I told you to pick him up last week. I'm telling you to pick him up again this week. He is a must-add and a must-start each and every single week now for your team. He has to be. For you guys that went out there and you drafted Brock Bowers and you don't know who your tight end is after that, here's your Brock Bowers. Cade Otton. Cade Otton is your Brock Bowers. He's only owned in 37% of leagues, people. Get him. I guarantee nothing but good things will happen with Cade Otton. Or if it's not him, maybe it's the guy that's owned in 57% of leagues, Arondé Gadsden of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's been coming up to storm. He's been doing great things by Justin Herbert throwing him the football. He's owned in 57% of leagues. He's a great guy to have, and he's available. Another guy who is available, I drafted him and ended up dropping him earlier this year because he wasn't doing anything, plus he was hurt. That's Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram of the Broncos. He didn't do too much until the fourth quarter, but then again, all the fantasy points that were to be had was scored in the fourth quarter for the Broncos. So, owning 58% of leagues, the tight ends, Evan Ingram. Cade Otton is that one though. Cade Otton is the one that you need to add. He's the most consistent out of all these guys, especially if he's number one. Tej Johnson's number two in Tampa Bay. But if you go to the Chargers, you have to worry about Keenan Allen getting his. You also got to worry about the handoffs to whoever the running back is, Kamani Vidal, who it has to be. He also catches footballs as well. Ladd McConkey gets the ball thrown to him. Quentin Johnson does. So Gadsden may not be your best sexy favorite to get, but he does put up stuff for him. And Evan Ingram, the exact same thing. Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, the J.K. Dobbins takes away from him. If you're trying to get away from maybe he's the exclusive person, Cade Otton is the one to have. It is. All right, those are the guys who you should add. Here are the guys who you might want to consider to drop. I wish I had sad music playing on, but you kind of have to. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's number one. If you have him on your team, bravo to him. Bravo to you, actually. I know he had that 1 week where if you needed that 18 points to win a fantasy league, he got it for you. But that's the only type of production we're getting to see out of him. And I really do think Brashard Smith's going to be the leading back here by week 10 in Kansas City. So I think Kareem Hunt is a candidate to drop. I don't trust any running back right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. But if there is one I do trust, it's Brashard Smith. Isaiah Pacheco, of course, yeah, but Pacheco runs to the butt cracks of his offensive lineman. That happens. That happens. Another guy you should probably drop, who you might have added because he had a great game in Dublin, and he's just been sitting there on your bench after that. Kenneth Gainwell, drop him. You don't need to have him on your bench. You shouldn't have him on your bench. He belongs in waiver wires. And if ever Jaylen Warren gets hurt again, that's when you should go out there and grab him. You should not waste a roster spot for Kenneth Gainwell whatsoever. And this one might cause a stir to some people, this next guy I'm going to say. But he's not the exclusive back there right now. Nick Chubb is. Woody Marks, I get it. He got a touchdown this past week. If he didn't get a touchdown this past week, he would have given you 3 fantasy points or 4 fantasy points. He would have got you nothing if you didn't start him. But he got a touchdown. That's nice. He's not going to do that every single week. He just won't. Nick Chubb is the running back for the Texans, not Woody Marks. We're not going to see a Woody Marks that we saw a handful of weeks. It is safe to say that you could drop him. It's okay. Rip the Band-Aid off. You can drop him. You can. You can do it. I've done it. Not Woody Marks, but I've done it for this one guy. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp. We should not, as fantasy owners, keep namesake the reason why you're keeping a player. We are not going to see Cooper Kupp of 2 years ago. We're not going to see Cooper Kupp of last year. The Cooper Kupp of last year or 2 years ago is his teammate Jackson Smith-Njigba. That's the Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is not the same. He is droppable. I think he's ranked 65th or something like that in ESPN fantasy leagues. Drop him. I did it. I ripped the umbilical cord off Cooper Kupp and I slapped it on to Tej Johnson just yesterday. And it felt fantastic shedding that weight. It did. Because I know for a fact Tej Johnson to come in and flourish. Cooper Kupp can go flourish out there on the waiver wires. Another guy in the wide receiver room. Now you could drop or trade these guys. I'm not saying just a drop if you wanted to. If you can work out a way to, hey, Cooper Kupp might be back that guy again. He might be that guy again once they come back from bye. Side note, he won't. But if you can, I don't know, hoodwink your friends, why not? Go for it. That's why there's trades. You want to talk up a guy that you're trying to trade. It's A-okay. I understand it. You're just trying to wheel and deal. I love it. Another guy on this list, Calvin Ridley. And it's concerning because he's starting to get hurt now. He's older. I understand. He is also a trade candidate at the deadline. Deadline is November 4th. He's a guy that I would trade. Either trade or drop. Get it over with. You need to. It's done. It's over. There's not a good, reliable option whatsoever in Tennessee. I don't even know who the wide receiver 1 is anymore. I thought it was Alec Ayo-Manor. It's not that at all. I couldn't even tell you who the next wide is. It DK? Demike? Kukaranka? I don't know how to pronounce that tight end's last name either. No, it's Tajay Spears. I think Tajay Spears is the leading candidate for that now. Be done with Calvin Ridley. Just be done with him. Get rid of him. Be done. Move on. This is your safe space to hear someone else say it when you're thinking about it. You need to move on from him. You need to. Other one, Rashid Shaheed. I know he's ranked in the top 30s in fantasy football right now because of what he's done previously. The last 3 weeks, he's been consistent 8s and 9s. We don't want that in fantasy football standards. We don't. Now, if you're in a big league, I understand why you definitely would want that. But if you're in a 12-team, a 10-team, you should not be starting Rashid Shaheed. He should be on your bench. But there's also better guys out there in waiver wires that you can have rather than Rashid Shaheed. It's true. I'm here to tell you that it is. You could go out there and you can get that Tej Johnson. You can go out there and get that Darnell Mooney. You can go get that Alec Pierce. I know that for a fact. If you have Rashid Shaheed, you can get one of them guys. One of them guys that's going to be a difference maker for your team. Rashid Shaheed, no thank you. Now let's go to tight ends. We got 3. Michael Mayer. He was added a lot because of Brock Bowers, but by the week 9, Brock Bowers will be back, and Michael Mayer will not be needed to be used. He had one good fantasy week while Brock Bowers was out, and majority of that time when Brock Bowers was out, Michael Mayer had a concussion. Unfortunate. Super unfortunate. I would not have Michael Mayer start whatsoever for my team. I would drop him. The other one's the Seattle Seahawks tight end, A.J. Barner. No. Sorry, Barner. It's not you. It's who Sam Darnold's throwing to, and it's definitely not you. He's throwing it to JSN. JSN or Horton in the end zone. That's just what Seattle's method is, or running it down with Zach Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker. AJ Barner is not a reliable tight end. Drop him. It's okay. Another guy, you could probably trade him because of namesake. Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has not been the fantasy football player that we've seen the last 2 seasons. And we're here to win fantasy football championships. You're not doing that with the tight end of Mark Andrews. Probably try to trade him. Hopefully you can get something out of him. It'd be idiotic to drop him just to waiver wires. But the thing is, I did that last year. I was a Mark Andrews drafter. I drafted him. He didn't do anything for me. For the first 5-6 weeks of the season, after that, I said, I'm done. It's over. I don't care what he did the second half of the season during the playoffs. I don't care. But I'm here to tell you that it is A-okay to trade Mark Andrews or to drop him. I guarantee it. I promise you. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Foolish Fantasy. I appreciate you all for sticking around this entire time. I hope this is all helpful advice for the Week 8 bye that we are currently on and trying to figure out. And then while you're here, you might as well just start prepping for Week 9 because that's coming right around the corner and basically a week away. The season's going by super duper quick. Buckle up, everybody. Good luck this weekend. The playoffs are just right around the corner. Let's get there. Let's finish strong. We got this.